Live just here with us today. We're running a bit late, that's on my end. Sorry guys, my bad. I'm your haunted host, Jasper, and here listening Mystic Whispers podcast. So we have another fellow author, and he's got 2 books now. So welcome, Michael. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Sure, I do apologize about that lateness of mine. So let's bring up one of my videos and we'll continue with the Q&A. We'll be
No
back,
worries.
folks.
I'm a podcast host too, so I know
Awesome.
things happen and things get delayed.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back. All right. We're back. Hope you don't mind that little intro I did.
No,
Working
that
on
was
some
really cool, actually.
music clip and everything. Thanks. This song was called, it's not the whole song, but like a little bit of it. But it's called Rising In by yours truly.
That's a really cool song.
Thank you. Little upbeat, but
Yeah,
so yeah, how you been? I know it's been a while. So the
it
listener
has
group was.
been.
You want to tell everybody your background in case they wasn't here last time? What like
Sure.
picked up on
I'll,
it?
I'll give the abridged version.
Sure.
So, as mentioned, my name is Michael. I am a podcast host, paranormal investigator with a background in the metaphysics, and a recent author as of September. So, as
Congratulations.
people say, a man of many hats.
I hear you.
So, I have been in the paranormal most of my life without knowing it. I didn't know it until I got into my late 30s, early 40s that what I was calling metaphysical experiences or spiritual experiences were paranormal. So, I have turned that into my podcast shows. And also, I have a show where I look into the esoteric slash disclosure because that's something I've always been interested in, and my family was interested in it. So I just decided when my dad passed away that, you know, let's
Sorry to hear
try and
that.
make a show of it. And we are going strong. And in January will be the premiere of season 4 of both shows.
Awesome. So what initially got you started in a paranormal field? I mean, if you had a personal encounter with the ghost, or how did that come around? If you don't mind sharing.
Well, I kind of grew up in it, and I had a paranormal experience at 2, and pretty much most of my life I've been around paranormal with spirits, being around a lot of mediums, so picking
Medium.
up, and sensing, spirits around was kind of normal. And I will
Right, right.
share, and I've never actually think I've brought this up on a interview before, but it just popped in my head, so I'm gonna share it here.
Sure.
Is
Whatever you like to share, it's all open.
one of my favorite things to do in the metaphysics. Well, I call it the red light district of the metaphysics, and no, it's not the red light district of Amsterdam. What it is You take and you sit in a chair perfectly still, and you shine a red light directly on the face of the person sitting in that chair.
Huh. I never
And
heard
in
of that.
the dark, you can start to see their face change and their body move without them moving. And so, what I was taught and told was if you ever want to know about past lives, this is a good way to see if you have any, because that's what
I
they
know I do.
claim is your past life will come through from the red light.
Huh.
And
Is
I've
that
actually
the
filmed it and it shows up in the film. So it's a
is that kind of
real
like
occurrence.
a UV light, or is it a different kind of light?
No, it's you get a red light bulb like you would at a party store. You put it in a lamp and just turn it on and shine it on that person,
Oh, I see.
and they're encompassed in a red glow, and the body just like I
Kind
could
of
be
like when
sitting
you
like
would play
this.
with the cat.
Yeah, I could be like this, and with the red light on me, all of a sudden my hands may look like they're doing this. Even though my hands are still truly here, you'll see like spirit hands doing this. And so it's really cool because the body will start to move, the upper body and the face will start to change. Like I've seen men whose faces have become women, or pirates, or different
I had a
fields. And
certain
so,
thing happen to me personally, even though it was just a regular flashlight like you use for camping. And my friend's girlfriend, she's also a paranormal investigator. Used to look her up. Kimberly Nobody. But we were outside, just like trying to get to know if there's spirits around. And we got quite some hell stuff. And this place is pretty old, so it's a lot surprising. So what happened was, this she was taking a picture right at me, and I wasn't moving much. All of a sudden, my face was like changing. It was like what they call it, morphing.
yeah.
Like I don't know, it's hard to explain this. I don't know
Oh,
because I'm
that,
psychic or something's coming out through me or
yeah, it's really cool that you were able to do that because it's really cool to
I got
watch because people don't realize, you know, the person sitting there may have their eyes closed and so they don't know what's going on. So it's really cool to like listen, but you got to be careful because if somebody, like in my case, someone laughingly said, "Oh, look, he looks like a female pirate." I may start laughing or smile because I'm like, that sounds funny to hear, and it'll distort everything. You got to stay still
oh,
for
oh
the
I see.
morphine to take effect.
I just want to say, take time out to our listeners. Hey, everybody! I see you,
Hi.
Bruno. And say hi to Michael. But, yes, he's a hi face, heart shape, head, and pink wearing now. How are you? I'm doing good. How are you guys? Been a busy morning. In fact, I'm running late. Oh my goodness. What a day. But all good. Had doctor follow up, so we need to do that. All right, thanks.
Hopefully, you're getting good news.
Yeah, yeah, pretty good. All systems go, I say.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, no cancer, not like that. Because my father passed from brain cancer, that's why I want to keep up with the follow up.
I
Very
understand that.
important. So yeah, so tell us what really sparked your idea. I know as a writer we get ideas all the time, especially for me through dreams. I have really vivid dreams. It's crazy. I would have like two or three dreams in the same night. So how would you get your ideas to write your books?
I actually took and looked at memories and experiences and
Yeah.
So when I go on paranormal investigations, I have what I call a paranormal resume where I log where I went, and if I want to make special note of who I was investigating with, I'll write it down. But normally I will just write down location and where the location is. And then when I went to looking at writing the book, I was looking at all the locations and going, okay, what do I remember of this location? How many times did I go there? And I just wrote a basic, experience one, experience two, experience three. And then I went back and was like, okay, it's one thing to say this is what happened at this location. I feel like, and I was looking at that like, you can get that from any book. That no one's gonna want to
Right.
read this because they're like, yeah, I read that somewhere. I could read that somewhere else or off a website. So what I did
True.
was after I wrote everything, I went back and looked at did certain experiences jump out at me more than others? And if they did, I would be like, okay, this is what happened. This is the impact of what happened. This is what stuck with me from this experience, or this is what I took from this experience. So it's more of making this it a story about me and what happened to me because of this location. And so I've been told, and I can do words that'll paint pictures. I know that sounds strange, but somehow I have that knack. And so when I did
I
my
hear you.
paranormal book, I didn't put any pictures in it because I felt like every experience I was sharing that I really got into, the picture was painted. You could visually see it in your mind. And so that was my goal with that one. And then when I wrote my second book, I was doing purely experiences from my mind, and some of what I was seeing from memory, I was like, there's no way anybody could picture this without an illustration. So my friend that does the covers also agreed to do illustrations if I needed to. So Selena was really cool, and she did one or two illustrations to help show what the experience is about. And I
Yeah,
did
that's cool.
two illustrations myself, and one of them I sent to Selena and was like, "Hey, you might need to touch this up." And she goes, "Why? It looks really cool the way you did it." I was like, "Okay, well then I'll use it."
Mhm.
And I was like, "That's high praise coming from an illustrator because art is not my strong suit."
Yeah, I like art, but it's like I can't like draw people. They'll be like on an SLS cam. They'll be like stick figures.
Yeah, but the thing that Celine and I did, and it's nothing against AI, but we talked about it and we determined, since we're doing a series of my personal journey, not to use AI and just use my personal experience and my personal memories, because I didn't want to sit there and, like if AI wrote a section of the book and you go, hey, what did you mean by this and this part of the book? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. That was AI. I didn't write that.
Right.
So I don't know. I can't defend it or explain it. And so that's why we opted out of using AI for writing the book. Is anything that's written, I can right away respond to because it's my words, my experience, and
Right. Coming from the
any
heart.
images we work together and hand drew them. So if anybody sits there and says, "Oh, you took my drawing," we'll be like, "We couldn't have. We drew these by hand based on." Now we did base some of them on AI images, but we did not
Right.
use the AI image. We hand drew everything. So you can tell in the drawings, everything's hand drawn. Even the covers are hand drawn, and so
That's a good idea.
I
Copyrights. Yeah.
yeah. So I am always touting how Selena Ingles has totally made these books possible because she's the artist behind the scenes
Oh, awesome.
and
They look great,
editing.
by the way.
Yeah, she's also my editor, so she wears a lot of hats with the books too, and so
She can do
I
mine.
yeah, I mean I couldn't do the books without her, and I
It's
have
hard
a
work.
yeah, I have a dear friend, Erica Amarina, who she helped with my second book, and so I actually credit her. And
Oh, nice.
one of the things I did differently with my book is there's besides not having chapters that it's just a fluid story from start to finish,
Right.
is I have a dedication page where I call out a few people and say, I kindly say, there's so many more. I can't list everybody, I
Right.
but then I was like, how do I really start the book? Because most books you turn dedication, you start the chapter, good to go. And I was like, I feel like there's something missing when we do that. So I actually took and created a page that comes after the dedication before the actual book starts. And it's my little saying of, you're about to enter into my journey, so be prepared for what's coming.
Right.
Enter at your own risk, so to speak. So I created a fun little page of warm up to say, yep, you're about to start an adventure.
Awesome. So there should be a sequel to that, maybe a part three.
Well, I'm actually writing down ideas of for version 2. This is our second edition. The first edition is going to be the base, and then next year or the year after, I'm not sure when I'm going to have them done, but I'm adding material to the books. So if you get the second edition, you'll get the first edition, but it may have changes. Like, for example, I'm looking at, I might add some illustrations to the paranormal book in the sections that's already published, and a special section in that book. And
Uh-huh.
so it'll be a different book, but it's still, they're going to build on each other. And so
Right.
my thought is, you can read, the first edition and then see what's new in the second edition and be like, oh yeah, and decide, did that illustration really help, or was it just cool to look at and didn't really do anything for the book, but I'm really excited about it. And I think part of what I'm looking at doing with the second edition will surprise some people, but I really would like a lot of people to read the first edition first because they'll get an idea of who I am, why I am who I am, and why I think the way I do. And because the second book, my experiences are only a 3 year journey versus 47 years,
Uh,
I decided to add a section in that book where I'm like, you know, here's topics that are on my mind, and this is why. For example, like I could have a section on King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And I'm like, and I'm thinking about these because, are they, could they have been star seeds? Do you know that the Knights of the Round Table are part of the zodiac representations? And so
right.
I take a topic everybody knows, and then I dive a little deeper in the rabbit hole about them. And I'm like, this is what I think about. So this is where my shows come from, and topics on my shows is I'm thinking about them this way. That's why they get presented a little different. And so,
That's how I like it sometimes.
yeah, and
A little
so
bit here and there, like sneak peeks of what to
it
look
is.
forward to.
And one of the things too I decided, because like the first book is my journey into the paranormal, I
That's
share
great.
my journey with the podcasting, my hosting of the energy that surrounds us and the origins of that show. And I also co host with Kel Ridley on Paranormal Versus and with E right now. And so I give the origin story of Paranormal Versus in that book. And my book, or not my book, but my other podcast, Writing Through the Unknown, its origin
Oh,
story is in my book of the hidden discoveries, because
oh,
that's what
nice.
that podcast show is really more about. And so I decided to, if I was going to give my experiences and my journey, I needed to give it all and not keep some parts out. So I was like, yeah, so you're going to get my journey, how I got into what I'm doing now. And so
Nice.
that's why I view like it as important, if you're going to follow along with it, to read the first editions, because you're going to have an understanding going into the second editions that those who are skipping it, waiting for the second edition, will miss, and they'll be
That's what
like
I always
behind.
say. Start from the first book, and then you get to know me too. 'Cause I've written like, what am I at? 24 now.
Right.
I surprised myself. But
Well,
I
and
want
the
to
other,
ask you this one question. I'm sorry. Without giving too much away from either of your books, what would be the most moving or compelling part that you can share without giving too much away?
um, wow, what would be the most compelling? Well, I would say in the paranormal book, the most compelling would be is you will be able to see in print 3 paranormal experiences that I had before becoming a paranormal investigator. So you'll be able to see those experiences described out in a different way and having a different impact, because those were before I knew even about the paranormal. So they'll have a different flavor and a different connotation to them. And then you'll see how, with teams, different people, how everything happens and what effect it has. And for my other book, the compellingness is, I would say, as unbelievable and impossible sounding, everything in that book is 100% from my memory.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't go to AI to make anything sound better or scarier or anything. It's pure memory. And I even have a couple of memories where I feel like they're related to something, but I'm not 100% sure. So I leave it to the reader to decide, is this a paranormal experience or something else? And so,
Right. Yeah, you did have to question it.
yeah, and so I leave, I don't decide for you. I just lay it out and saying, I believe it could be this, but I don't know. I don't have total validation, and I don't have total memories of what I'm writing about. And so that's the glory with that book, is when the second edition comes out, it'll have new memories or new experiences to share in it. And so it's literally following my journey of discovery basically along with me. You'll go on the ride with me. And there's going to be 4 books in the Awakening series.
Oh cool.
And hopefully, November and December, we'll see the third and fourth book come out. So by the end of this year, the first editions should all be out. But I'm not gonna sit there and make stuff up to make a second edition for all the books. So
Right.
keep an eye out, because I know the paranormal and the hidden discovery journey books will have second editions coming, but the other two may or may not. And so it's going to be interesting, and
Yeah,
it
but look
could
forward
take
to it.
2 years for one of those books to have a second edition, versus the other books maybe being on third editions by then. But I'm not going to make, like, a friend of mine suggested, go in, and if there's no pictures, add pictures and say second edition
I
now
really
has
respect it.
illustrations. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, if there's a second edition, there's going to be new material. So I'm not going to update the book until I have something to update it with. And so don't worry if you're following along and you're like, oh, these books, some of the books are on third or fourth edition and the other books are still on first or second. What's going on? It's just that part of my life is not as active as these. And so that's where I have my
Yeah,
focus.
isn't that ironic? Because I noticed some UFOs, or I've been having UFOs and possibly even a UFO alien abduction in my life when I was like 12, 13-ish, when I got lost with that one time. I don't know if you know that, but I wrote that in my first book where I got lost, and I don't remember like going from point A to point B. That was blacked out, and they said I'm missing for an hour. So there's missing time,
There
but
is.
I
And
pieced together.
one of the fun things of having my illustrator friend is, she, because she edits the books, she gets feedback more than I do, which I find funny because I'm the author. But they will approach her and be like, "Ooh, can you do more of this? Can we get more of that? And we really are liking what you're doing with this. Can we get more of that?" And so she'll message me and say, "Hey, like people are wanting this, we should do something for that." And we
Mhm.
look and I'm looking at my schedule and I'm like, well, yeah, we can, let's try it. And if we have time, we can do it. If not, it can come later, but it's doable. And so make sure you follow along. Like I have an Amazon
Yeah, I was just
author
gonna ask you
page.
where everybody can follow you. And also, one more quick question: is your books available in all formats, like audio or just a few format?
So my books are available on Kindle, paperback, and hardcover right now.
Okay, I'll be sure to link everything for you if you like.
I I'm looking at audiobook maybe later on, but when I have time to really research that, and also I do have an offer from a friend to read the book for
Oh,
the
nice.
audio, and she would love to do it, but she has time constraints too, so I'm not wanting to overdo her as well, and
I would
both of
like
us
to,
be
but
like, too much, too much.
I don't have the greatest voice, or I would definitely.
Oh, you have a great voice. What do you mean?
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I also, I'm not wanting to jump in and get like audio right now, also because I want to establish myself, and my focus right now is to get the 4 books out, and there may be a few surprises along the way along with it. And I gave my word to Selena that she, being my illustrator and editor, is
Uh,
working on, a project of hers. And so I agreed to help her. And so we're going to be working on that too. And so that's
awesome.
why I'm not trying to get multiple things out at once. It's like I'm trying to do one at a time.
I know how that is. I'm working on one book and I get another idea for another one and like, oh yeah, finish this one first.
Yeah.
Right now I'm working on my abduction story.
Well,
And
and I have thought about, once the 4 books are out and being able to adapt those books, I might turn around and start writing some other stuff. And I mean, who knows? I may start another series or just write another book on its own, but here and there. But I'm focused on getting my stuff done, keeping my word with my illustrator friend Selena, and helping her get her stuff done as well. And I just I don't want to flood either, and be like, oh,
right.
here's 20 books right away, right on top of each other, and everybody is like, okay, let's just wait till he's done. It's like, no, I want to start spreading out once these 4 are done. And the only reason these 4 books in the Awakening series is coming out one each month is because I had originally wrote them last year as one whole book, and then I decided to step back because I got in my head about it and didn't feel right. and I was helping another friend with her book, and it got me thinking, hey, I should do something with my book. And I
Right.
took it into 4 parts and I made 4 books out of it. So that's why they're being published so fast, is they were already written.
Oh no.
So I just needed them edited, a cover put on, and
Yeah, once you
I
know the
was like,
structure and the outline, like all you have to do
yeah.
is write.
And so yeah, and they're all 4 books are actually their own flavor. And so how it's going to work is they're not in any particular order, but how it worked out is the first book of the journey is my paranormal, because that was the one I felt like I could publish the quickest because it was mainly done. It just needed a little tweak and a cover.
Right.
Then the Hidden Discovery book I did because a lot of people have been asking me about that. And so I was like, okay, let's put that book out. Then the third book is, as I mentioned, being a paranormal investigator with a background in metaphysics. I share my journey into the metaphysics from when I was a little kid all the way up to now. Everything I've learned and what its effect on me isn't going to be in that book. And then the fourth book, ironically, was originally intended to be the first book, and it's just a look into my life. Like, where have I traveled to? What was life like growing up? What experience did I have? And so those are, you
I
know,
kind of did that with one of my books. I don't know if you read it, but it's My Haunted. I can't remember the title now. My
eh,
Haunted California. On how to like whatever in my experience. Like I mentioned Alcatraz Island and Winchester and some other places. I know they were haunted, but most of the other places, I didn't know they were
right.
haunted either. I guess California has this a lot of haunts around here.
I know, and there are a lot of places that I've visited as a child that I'm like, man, if I had known, I think I knew, but I didn't know what I knew. And so I was like so excited to go to these places. And now I'm finding out these places were haunted. And so it's like, do I go back? And it's like, do I go back? How
I would
do I
love
go
to go
back?
back,
And it's
especially
like
the Alcatraz.
so many places and so many experiences to repeat and yet have. And
Yeah, I've been to the Queen Marys throughout my life, and I've had weird experiences. I even got to go through the pool before it closed off. And I even got to go through the most haunted rooms, which is hard to look because everybody wants to get it. You do feel something right in there. You don't have to stay there for too long. And I was feeling goosebumps right away. Like the moment I stepped in there, I felt something like the energy was off.
yeah, and I have to say that, being a paranormal investigator and a podcast host, it's funny when you make that tradition, not tradition, the turnover of where you're at and going, yeah, I never saw myself as a podcast host. And
Me
now I
either.
love doing it. And so it's like you have that euphoric state of, oh my gosh, I'm on the air. People are actually watching me and watching my shows. And at one
Right.
point my shows were on a radio, so I had that euphoria of hearing myself on a radio and was like,
Isn't that
wow. And
crazy?
now I have that euphoria of I wrote books and people, are actually reading my books. And I'm like, everything I kind of grew up telling myself I'd never do that because nobody would ever. I'm
I know the
finding
feeling because
that
when I was
was
at
all wrong information and people are reading. And so,
they are, and I was
um,
at my first book signing. I want to share real quick. I know we're getting towards the end here already. My goodness. But I was at my first book signing for one of my books. I think Random Spirit, something like that. And so I saw this lady reading my book just in their cafe. I'm like, oh, she's reading my book. You know that feeling?
I, I do. And I also had the funny feeling, and it kind of tickles me some is when one of my old co-hosts for my podcast show went to an event, and one of my guests that had been on the show walked up to her and says, "I know you. How do I know you?" And she's like,
I
"I don't
get
know.
that a
This
lot.
is what I do." And they were like, "I've seen you on something." And she goes, "Well, I co-host on this show." And she's like, "That's it. You're on Michael's show." And it was I was like sitting there laughing and going, "Wow, my co-hosts are getting recognized at events. That
I
is
had that
so
happen.
cool."
Well, they recognized my voice. I'm like, really? Yeah, you might probably heard my podcast or radio or something. The cashier recognized my voice.
And
That's cool.
it's funny too is now I'll be like messaging people who I just become friends with on Facebook, and I'm like, "Hey, let me introduce myself. I'm so and so." And a lot of times now I'm getting back, "Yeah, I know who you are. I'd love to be on your show." And I'm like, "Wow, I didn't know I was so well known." And
Yeah, I feel
or
that
the
way
other thing
sometimes
is,
too.
I'll get messages from people and they're like, "Hey, I've seen a couple of your shows. I'd love to be on your show." And I'm like, "Wow, you're asking me to be on my show. That's even more cool." And so I
Yeah, it
love when
is.
those come on, and I look into who they are and try and figure out which show am I going to put them on. And it's really cool when you start to get recognized and you realize
Yeah, it's just rewarding.
you're being
That way.
recognized for being yourself, because
Yeah,
I don't put a mask on, so to speak, and a different personality for my shows. It's this I'm the same here with you as I am on my
this is how
shows
I
with
am.
other people. And so it's I am who I am. You get what you get kind of
I have a soft
personality.
voice, I admit, and I'm pretty quiet compared to my other friends. So I told her she has the perfect voice. She is so naturally loud, you know? I don't mean that in disrespectful. She might take it the wrong way, but she has a great voice. I need to tell her. She needs to be on radio.
Radio is not disappearing. I know a lot of people thinks
Yeah,
it
I
is,
started in
but
radio.
it it's not disappearing. It's now being turned into like Spotify. You could
Yeah, we'll be on
consider
Spotify, by the way.
Spotify as the radio, and
Mhm.
different platforms use only
Yeah, I
audio.
noticed.
So you can't radio is still around. It's just in a different format. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
I
Spotify, I
have
heard.
yep, I have a lot of my shows on audio. I download the
Mhm.
audio for that, and
Yeah,
I have
same.
video in as many places as I can. And I will never forget my friend Jeff Rennell, who runs eTalk. He was the one who started, me focusing on, the benefits of radio being, audio is people hear what we're talking about and get
Yeah.
engaged. And when we're just talking about like an object or something during the episode, I didn't want to be on radio for that reason because they can't see it. And he goes, no, if you sell it on radio well enough, they're going to go and also watch the episode to see what you have. So you're going to get views from the audio listening, and then you're going to get views from them wanting to
Yeah,
see.
YouTube and everything.
And so it's like they'll play off each other. And I was like, I never thought of it that way. And so
Yeah.
I think that's where my writing comes from too, is I'm using my voice instead
Right.
of verbal. It's on pen and paper, and I'm selling in a way my experience in a way to where you can paint your own picture. And if you really want to see what it's like, you'll ask me about it, and I can say, yeah, okay, here's, let me draw a picture or paint a picture, and I can do something like that and make it visual. But yeah, it's my words can create image. And so it's a gift. And I know some people can do it and others can't. But I
Yeah.
know, as you said, we're running out of time. And one thing I want to say to
Sure.
your listeners and my listeners who will hear this when I upload it is, if you have a dream or you have an idea of something and you're telling yourself don't do it because nobody's going to, don't
Yeah.
listen to that voice, because I can tell you, if I listened to that voice, I would not be the podcast host I am. I would not be the author that I am now. And so give yourself a shot and, believe in yourself and, take the risk, because you never know. It may pay off and you become a really cool writer that people seek out or are interested in. And worst case scenario is, you have a book out that maybe four people read, but hey, four people read that book. Not,
Yeah. Makes
so,
it all work well.
you know, there is no downside really to it. And so take and, do what you can and believe in yourself, but do it in a way where you don't drain yourself, and don't drain yourself of energy or income or, all
Yeah, it's easier to
everything
do.
together, and have, put all your eggs out and be like, yeah, make it or break it. No, you gotta put a little bit of your energy in, put a little bit of money in, test it, see if you'll get a good return. And if you do, then start looking at like attaching to a publishing house. But I would suggest self-publishing first.
Yeah.
As much of a headache as it can be at times, you get a great return, and you can use that to build a foundation to where you might have people who are publishing houses come to you to want to publish your books because they're so popular. And
Right.
so you never know until you try.
That's true. I do appreciate your time with this, and once again, I do feel bad for coming on so late. It's been a crazy morning, but
It's all right.
thank
It
you.
worked out.
I'm glad it did. So, good luck on your books, and before my voice totally gets out. Where can everybody find you and your awesome books?
So my books are on Amazon, and there's a link on my link tree that I gave to Nicole. She'll put it in the description.
Awesome.
And it also has a link to everywhere you can find my shows. So if you have an interest in listening to one of my podcasts or seeing what they're like, you can find a platform that you enjoy, see if it's on there, and give it a listen and see. And if you like what you hear, I always encourage people. It's hard for me because I'm not used to it, but I'm starting to get better at it. Is liking and subscribing and commenting. And I will share, if you do comment on any of my episodes, when I see them, I will personally respond to them. So no matter who, if it's the name of the show or my name appearing, you can rest assured it is me responding to you personally. I do
Okay.
that with all of my comments. So
I want to sign copies, by the way.
no problem. We'll talk about that when we're
Okay.
off air.
All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael, for being with us at short notice. Oh my gosh. My bad on my part. So I will link your book to your site and everything afterwards. But it'll be a replay. It'll be on Spotify and everywhere you listen to your content. You've been listening to Mystic Whispers podcast, and I'm your haunted host, Nicole Jasper, and we've been talking to Michael, an author and paranormal researchers, and thank you for being with us tonight, Michael.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and glad to come back on anytime.
Sure, anytime. And likewise, I would like to be back on your show. By the way, so yeah, good luck with everything, and have a safe week, you guys. And we got another live interview coming in a couple of days. So happy Halloween is coming up.
It is.
Alright. Alright. I missed this. Thank you all for listening.
Bye
Thank you,
bye,
Michael.
everyone.
Good night, folks.